What's up, everybody? It's the Bipolar Prophet, and welcome back to Old Ridge Farm and Farming Simulator 15. So, as you can see, it's very early on a Tuesday morning in foggy, fairly cold and cloudy Old Ridge. It's potato harvest time. So, as you can see, I've got my case, my fancy case over here. I've got the duals on it. I've spent quite a bit of time this morning bolting the duals on, getting the defoliator all greased up and ready to go, getting the harvester all greased up and ready to go. I also went around and sprayed some corn. And I want to get these potatoes up. Now, I was looking at the weather a little earlier this morning while I was having breakfast, and apparently it's going to get really cold tonight, so hopefully my corn survives. I was afraid of a freeze, it's a little early for a freeze, I think, but I think we should be okay. We will find out. I've already got the cloths, which you can't quite see over there in the haze, with the Dezor trailer that I use for things like potatoes and sugar beets, all set up. I'm going to do this manually because Courseplay makes a giant mess of it. Plus, it's kind of fun. Why not do it? So, I want to send a massive shout out and a big thank you to Mike, Reefy1952, or Mirrorman, depending on how you know him, for making the video about the area up by Shawnee B's place, up on the other side of his meadows. That Shawnee, being a big practical joker he was, told me it was a medieval sundial. Turns out that's not technically accurate. You got me again, Shawnee. Good job. It's actually an old burial mound from the Viking times, from when the Vikings came over to the UK to do all their raiding and pillaging and stuff, and then quite a few of them settled. The funny thing about that is that there's some question about my sort of nationality. I'm old school. My parents were very much older than I was, and sometimes people don't always know where they come from. I was always brought up to believe that I was half Italian and half Scottish. I know for a fact that my mother was Scottish, born in Edinburgh, Scotland. My father always told me he was Italian. Turns out he may actually be a Viking after we've done some research. Normandy, French, descendant from Vikings. So that's neat that there's sort of a relevant, sort of a connection there between that area and me. So, but anyway, let's go ahead and get started harvesting some potatoes. Go ahead and might as well turn the beacons off. Don't need those. So. Okay, so I'm cutting the tops. Why am I not harvesting potatoes? Is there a reason why these potatoes are not coming up? Am I missing something with this thing? This will be the second time now that I've done this. Oh, you know what would be massively helpful? If I turned it on. This is now the second time I've done this, because I'm a giant idiot, and couldn't figure it out the first time. There we go. Potatoes, yay. I figured nice and slow would be the way to do this. No sense having to rush through it, Oh, you may notice that my tongue is slightly better than it was the last time you guys were here. It was a lot better yesterday. It completely unswelled. I talked like a normal person. No more of that cartoon cat that I'm not going to say his name in fear of a copyright strike. But because of the weather here in real life, it's funny. You guys know I live in New England, in the real world, and the weather has been crazy. It's January 10th. It's about 55 degrees outside and raining like crazy. And I think that has something to do with my, my whole sort of facial problem that I have. The weather. I'm really susceptible to weather, so it's not great today, but it's not awful either. So now hopefully I don't get this pipe stuck in this tree, and I can't see what I'm doing, of course. One thing about Old Ridge, plenty of trees to get stuck in and stuck behind and everything else, so. Glad we're harvesting the potatoes. Was really looking forward to this. I obviously want to get them up, so. I've also been having to think about what I'm going to do with the corn once it's all chopped and everything. Well, once it's going to be silage, but what I'm going to do with the fields after they're all chopped and everything. I think I'm just going to leave them fallow, maybe. And then just work them in the spring. No sense planting alfalfa because it won't grow. We're getting real close to some seriously cold weather now, so whatever I put in the ground now would probably just freeze, so there's really no point in it. I don't know how long this is going to take. I was going to time-lapse it, but then I decided, nah, you know what, let's just do it. Let's do it the old-fashioned way. I think it makes more sense that way, so. Now, I will be honest and say that this harvester, because of the offset and everything, is not... it's not the easiest thing in the world to use, but I like it, so I'm going to keep using it. Plus, I can't afford one of the big self-drive jobs anyway, and I really don't need it because, then I would need one for sugar beets, I would need one for potatoes, so. And since, me and Mike and Cuthbert and the Major have gone in on the sugar beet, the big Ropa, There's no real point in us going in on a self-drive potato harvester. So, and we all have, our own systems for doing it. So, I will say this: somebody had the last time I'd harvested potatoes, somebody had said that I didn't need the defoliator to do this. Well, it turns out I did, because I tried to, I started this video a little while ago, and get over here and started to run through the field, and discovered that I couldn't actually harvest the potatoes without defoliating them first. So, not a big deal. I have the defoliator; might as well use it. I don't know how the yield's going to be over here. You can see the soil moisture is not, it's not great, but it's not awful. The nutrients aren't bad. It's spotty in places. I don't really have a weed problem over here, so it should be okay. I should get a couple of trailer loads of potatoes out of here, I hope. Also got the call about my grain. DeKalb, who I'm selling all my grain to, is ready for me, so we'll have to get that off to them at some point. I wonder if I did this in a cab, if it wouldn't be easier. Then I wouldn't be stuck behind these trees. First time I bolted the duals on this tractor. I haven't really needed them, but with the shape of this field and with the condition of this field, it's a little muddy in places. So I figured, let's get the duals out, let's get them bolted on. So that was one of the deals that Chad gave me when I bought this tractor, because obviously this tractor has all the bells and whistles, has all the, the features and everything. And part of the deal was that I sort of negotiated with him was that he would throw in a set of rear duals for me. I don't need front duals, so. And they just sat over there in my workshop, and I never used them. And I decided today would be a good idea. This is a big, heavy piece of machinery. This defoliator is pretty heavy, so the little extra surface area on the wheels is not going to be a bad thing. Also, been quite a bit of changes in the last few days since you guys have been here. Yesterday was a hive of activity down at the dairy meadow, if you guys remember the old dairy meadow. Sunday, after I gave everybody else, I sort of gave everybody else a day off after the corn was all drilled and everything. I said, you know what, you guys can go home and enjoy your Sunday. No sense working 7 days a week when you don't really need to. I don't like to let my guys work 7 days a week unless it's harvest time, So I went over and I plowed that whole dairy meadow and cultivated. It didn't take very long. It's not very big. And then sprayed some pretty powerful herbicide to keep the grass and stuff from growing back over there. And then yesterday, being Monday, the Milkmax guys were there. The Steel Buildings guys were there. You can see I'm down to $30,331. Because now I have two Milkmax machines over there. The one I originally owned that they came and dismantled so they could move it. Another one that they brought with them. The Steel Building, which went up in, lickety-split, no time at all whatsoever. The Steel Building guys do not mess around, to say the least. And I have I have two more calf rearing pens over there, so those go up really quick too. The people came down for that. I also yesterday was a very, very busy day, to say the least. I had applied for a grant a while back for a fertilizer system that was a little bit more sort of compliant with regulations than the one that I have now. You guys are probably aware, I just have tanks and bags of fertilizer in my shop over there. It's not really compliant with regulations. And when they had changed the regulations to, that you needed a retention pad and safety equipment and all kinds of stuff, they had given out basically 0 interest loans so that you could go out and buy these systems. And those guys were here yesterday as well, because that grant came through. So I have a new fertilizer tank now, a retention pad, big concrete pad, so that if anything spills, it'll drain down into a dry well, into a tank that I can then drain out or have drained out as I need to. So it's pretty cool. It's a neat sort of system. So lots of activity on the farm yesterday. Yesterday was a very busy day on the farm. I wanted to record some of it, but I was busy too, dealing with these guys and telling them where stuff needed to go and how it needed to go, so I couldn't really hold a camera while I was doing it. I noticed that a lot of my my videographers are out this morning, even on a cold, sort of foggy, hazy day here in Old Ridge. They're out, wanting to watch the potato harvest happen, so that's cool. One thing about this particular potato harvester is that I always feel like I'm missing a lot of potatoes because, you know, of the way the offset works on this thing. So if I could change one thing about it, it would be that. But, you know, I can't, so it is what it is, as they say. Now, I wonder if I shouldn't start going up and down now. I think that might be a better way to go, I think. Obviously, I don't want to make a big mess, and I don't want to leave, you know, a bunch of potatoes in the ground, because that's just money I'm leaving in the ground, so. You can see the Kloss over there with the Dezor trailer. That Kloss kind of needs a wash. It's kind of dirty. Now, turning this thing isn't exactly ideal either. It's a bit of a handful to turn. This is where Courseplay tends to make a mess. You can see all the potatoes I've left in the ground over there. That's not good. I need to figure this out. I mean, I can always go back and get them afterwards. Certainly, that's not an issue, but I'd like to do this as efficiently as possible. That's really the idea here. And I'm sure that some of you guys will gladly give me tips and suggestions, which of course I always need. Always more than glad to take that stuff from you guys, because I don't know everything, obviously. So. I almost wonder if I shouldn't let Courseplay do this. Well, the problem is Courseplay is going to make a massive mess on the ends of the field, so that's going to be the only issue I'm going to have with this. If I decide to let Courseplay do this. I could have got a contractor to come in and do this, but I already had the harvester, so it didn't seem to make a lot of sense for me to spend the money to bring in a contractor when I have the equipment to do it myself. I'm just going to stop here for a minute. I want to just take a look here and see. Okay, so, all right. So I seem to only be missing that outside row, and that's just because of the offset of it. You know what I'm going to do? Let's do this. Let's try it. Let's try it and see how bad of a mess Courseplay makes. Working with 1.6 meters. Wow, that's tiny. Okay, well, that's fine. Field 11. Starting corner, northwest, I guess. Let's try that. We're sort of headed south, but then the field well, no, that'll be okay. I think I want 3 headlands before. Let's see what that looks like. Go ahead and get all the... oof, that's going to be interesting. Now, where is the first waypoint? That's the question. Do we just let this thing drive to the first waypoint? Why not? Now, is it going to pick everything up and go and do its thing? It should, I think. I just see him getting stuck a whole bunch of times because of the angle that he's going to take here. And I need to turn off all these waypoints because I'm getting so much lag. I just want to try this. I figured why not, you know, and see how much of a mess Courseplay makes of it. This is one of those pieces of equipment that if you don't use it all the time, you sort of tend to, you know, either never generate the skill you need to be able to do it, or, you know, forget how to use it. So, and I just want to harvest my potatoes. I don't want it to be a massive epic. You can see all the potatoes in the ground right there, you know, that I missed. So, I just see this going badly. One thing about real terrain in this thing is it definitely because there's a lot of articulation on this piece of equipment. So real terrain really affects this thing, which is really neat. You know, you can see it driving over the potato mounds and everything. So okay, I'm gonna have to stop driver and get it turned around because it wants to go this way. So it's gonna get stuck on every tree. I just know this is gonna go bad. But you know what? This is one of those cases where, you know, okay, let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens. You know. What's the speed? 7 miles an hour? That's way too fast. Are you really going to go drive through the hedge? Yeah? Okay. Well, do what you got to do, I guess. Oh, he's going to get stuck on every tree in this on this field, isn't he? Especially on the headlands. Oh, just missed that. I need to pipe in, though. Pipe in, pipe in, pipe in. Oh, it's not going to let me pipe in. It's going to get stuck. Yep. Okay. Really? Pipe in. We'll go forward a little bit. Or backwards. Get to the foliator stock. Okay. Welcome back to BPGT, everybody. I mean BPGT. Welcome back to Old Ridge Farm, everybody. Where, you know, the just severe amount of dumbness happens. I wish I had put GPS back in. I could have used GPS. I didn't even think of that. But I didn't put it back in, so. You know what? That's going to be a fail. That's not going to work. It's just the shape of this field. It's just the way this field is. So we're going to have to do a drone view, I guess. I will say one thing. This is going to take a very long time at this rate. I may have to think about maybe selling this piece of equipment and bringing in contractors to do this for the next time because, to be honest, I just don't know that I have the wherewithal to do this, you know, at 1.6 meters and have it take forever, I guess. I don't know, you know. Farmer, right? Learn some patience, BP. Jeez. I guess maybe 5 miles an hour. Well, let's go 6. I mean, yeah, would you go this fast in real life? I don't know. Probably not. But just to sort of get on with it, I guess. This is one of those jobs that I would definitely like to automate. You know, not that I have a whole lot else to do, but I have a couple things I could be doing. And this just, you know, this is one of those jobs that, although I enjoy this piece of equipment, I wouldn't mind being able to automate it either. So. See, the problem is that the foliator cuts a bigger swath than the harvester can harvest at one time. So, oh well, that's okay. This will probably be a two-parter because we're already 20 minutes in. We've only gone around the field once, basically. So this will probably be a couple of part episode. You know, the first part could probably be a little boring and a little, you know, doofusy, but that's okay. That's just how it goes here on Old Ridge Farm sometimes. I do want to take you over to the dairy area and show you what's going on over there. We're going to be full pretty soon too. This thing only holds about 9.5 tons, somewhere in there, so, which is quite a bit when you think about it. It's quite a bit of potatoes, considering. Oh, we're full. We are full. Okay, so let me pick that up, turn that off, and we will drive over to the Dezor. We can pipe out now. We're away from the trees. Oops, nope. You got to be on the right thing if you're going to pipe out, though. It's going to be a lot of trips back and forth to the storage area just because this tipper doesn't hold all that much after I crash anyway. That's always good. Now, the trick to this is getting it so that it'll unload. Wow, BP. Well, I haven't had a really super sort of, derpy episode in a while, so I guess this will be the one, right? We'll derp through this one and then figure it out for the next one. Okay, you know what? Let's do this. Instead of trying to move this whole massive rig, let's just move the trailer. Forward. Jeez. My steering wheel's been acting up. Windows, right? What are you gonna do? It's Windows. It's the way. They've updated their HDMI drivers and everything, and I just think that the software that runs the G27 is very old, and it's just not thrilled with these new drivers. So, oh well. All right, we are unloading potatoes. Very good. Then I got to get this big old rig back on the field again. That'll be fun. I really like this harvester. There's a couple of issues with it. One being the sort of the particle system is a little weird. Instead of coming out and down, it just goes out. I could probably fix that, but to be honest, I can't really be bothered with it. I have too much other stuff to do. So okay, that is empty. Now we got to figure out a way to get this once my lag catches up with me. A lot of lag today, guys, just because of the fog and the haze and the lights and all the moving parts on this thing and everything. So not a whole lot I can do about that, unfortunately. Now, how do I get this out of here without A, taking out my tipper, and B, not going to be like that. Okay, you don't see this. I am not driving through this hedge. I didn't just drive through that hedge. Welcome to the super realistic mode on Old Ridge Farm, everybody. Hey, you know what? It happens. It is what it is, as they say. All right, now I need to get this lined up on this side. I don't need the defoliator just now. Turn that back on. Get some cruise control. Back to drone view. Back to harvesting potatoes. Oh, this is going to take forever. See why they make those big self-drives, right? I guess, part of being a farmer is, virtually or, in real life is having some patience. Not something that I'm particularly endowed with, unfortunately. And I blame that on, back to real life for a minute. I blame that on all my years in the fast food business. I was a manager for the second largest fast food chain in the world. Well, the third largest actually at the moment, but I can't say the name obviously for copyright reasons. But I worked for them for many, many years. I was a store manager, ran my own store. And you sort of live your life 90 seconds at a time because that's the amount of time you have to get stuff from the grill through the sandwich station, into the drive-through window and out the door. That's 90 seconds. So you really live your life 90 seconds at a time. And I really blame all those years of that job for me not having any patience. Obviously, being a farmer, nothing happens quickly. So this is another case of I wonder if I shouldn't go through and defoliate this, defoliate all these potatoes first before I go back and harvest them. I may just consider doing that, actually. It's a little inefficient. It's a little inefficient, I should say, because obviously, you're doing one job instead of two. But the problem is, like I said, the defoliator's got a much bigger cutting width than the harvester does. So I may seriously have to think about picking up a bigger utility tipper too, because that tipper only holds 17 tons, little over 17 tons, and you can see that the the fact that we're going to get a pretty good yield of potatoes off of this field, so going to be a lot of trips back and forth, but that's okay. Gonna have to call around and see who wants the potatoes. I don't have a contract for the potatoes, so I may try to get one for next season if I plant potatoes again. If I do, I very well may sell this harvester and try to get a contractor in to do this because, again, it's fun and I enjoy it. Ugh, really, I enjoy it except for when the pipe gets stuck, on everything. I guess there's no real reason to leave the pipe out. Until I'm actually going to use it. I would definitely probably leave a headland on this field if I did it again, just because of these trees, and I don't want to cut them down. So I did take down a bunch of trees over at the dairy meadow, just so I had room to sort of put everything the way I wanted it. But I don't like I've said hundreds of times. I don't want to defoliate or deforest Old Ridge. So. Plus, I really can't anyway. There's some heritage stuff that goes along with all this that keeps me from just being able to cut down trees willy nilly, move hedges and everything else whenever I want. So, which is fine, and I fully agree with that. So, but I think if I'm going to plant any sort of potatoes or sugar beets or anything on this field, I would probably leave a headland. Just because getting underneath those trees with this particular piece of equipment is kind of a pain in the ass. So, what I may do is I may do this episode, and we'll just call this the the doofy episode, right? Whatever, you're gonna have those once in a while. I don't have a problem with it. It doesn't embarrass me. Stuff happens. I'm not a potato farmer in real life, so I don't know how this stuff is supposed to work. I'm doing the best I can with it. So, and then maybe what I'll do is for the next part, I'll time lapse the rest of it. I guess we could probably do that. That may be fun. Because I don't know that I could find something to talk about for the 4 or 5 hours it's going to take to do this. Maybe what we'll do is we'll cut in the headlands, I guess, good on this episode. The only problem is I need see, it's not so bad on the south end, but on the north end I need a big headland because of the trees, because of everything in the way. And I don't, otherwise I'll get stuck. So I'm going to need a good headland up here on the north end of the field. Again, am I going to hunt down every potato on this field? Probably not. But I don't want to leave so many that, it's just costing me more money than it's worth. Because potatoes are another thing, like most things in agriculture, you need a lot of it to make money, so. I think that's one thing, it's funny because a lot of us, especially, Mike and Sean and me, and the other guys that are sort of doing the storyline thing here in Old Ridge, I think we're all sort of looking for a way to make less money. Obviously this is an economy-based game. The idea is to make money, to buy more equipment, to buy more fields, to buy more animals, that whole thing. But when you try to do it realistically, sometimes the economy in this game is a little wonky, and I think part of the reason for that is the fact that you just can't simulate the massive amounts of acreage that you would really need, in real life to make money doing this. And I think that's part of the reason why the prices on everything are so high, to sort of balance that. At least that's the way I see it anyway. But it's funny, as a purely economy-based game, most of us spend a lot of our time trying to figure out how to make less money. Okay, I need to turn the defoliator back on now. Try to stay, within the 1.6 meters of the harvester. Which of course I'm not going to do because I think the defoliator is like like 3 meters, I believe. So. I think once you get into a rhythm with this thing, it's not, it's not, it's certainly not fun. You know what I mean? It is fun. It's just a slow process, and that's just kind of how it is. So. Oh, you may see the new box over there, the new HUD. That's an animal HUD, an animal values HUD, or not an animal values, but an animal status HUD that came with a new mod that I have. That I'm going to put down somewhere. It's a seed mod, comes from Mod Hoster. I haven't put it down yet because it's pretty expensive. It's just a different way of making seeds, and there's some byproducts to it that you can feed to your dairy cows. So I thought that would be neat, Once the grant comes through for that, that'll probably go down somewhere. It'll sort of replace the Seed Master, it'll make seeds, and it'll provide this byproduct that I can feed to my dairy cows, so. You can see the dairy herd, if you look over there, is 91. All the rearing sheds are up and running now. So, we'll be having calves, and they'll be growing up and moving on to the dairy herd. So, really want a big dairy herd. Even though it's a lot of work and it requires a lot of materials, I just really enjoy it. So, all right, can we not defoliate my corn, though? Of course, in the game it wouldn't. But in real life, that thing would happily flail, corn or anything else, so. I only missed a little bit, not too bad. Sort of getting there, I guess. Just got to remember where the head of the harvester is compared to, or in relation to where the defoliator is. So. But we're going to be full again pretty soon. Probably bring the tractor to the harvester this time. I think that will make more sense. That's one function of Courseplay I don't think I've ever actually used, is to drive the harvester to the trailer function. I know it's neat, but I don't think I've ever actually used it. Because, generally, it's just easier for me to drive a tipper to the harvester, so. Yeah, you know what I think I may do? I may do the same thing I did with the sugar beets. I started, with the sugar beets, I obviously, the first time I did sugar beets, when I was using a trailed harvester, before I, started, before we all went in on the big ropa. I may just defoliate these potatoes and then just be able to run up and down the rows with the harvester and pick them up. I think I'll do that. I'll do that off screen. I know I've said I don't want to do too much stuff off screen, but there are certain jobs, on the farm that just don't make for very interesting videos, or at least I don't think so anyway. Again, you guys can let me know if you want to see me do every single thing on screen. I will gladly do that. But whoops, I am full. Right, pipe out. Nope, gotta be on the right thing. Turn that off. Switch back to this. Pipe out. We'll go now. Is that pipe gonna keep going if I stop? Probably not. The lag over here, though. If it would just be less hazy, the lag would kind of go away. Unfortunately, I need the lights, so now we'll tab around. This will take about 5 minutes because of the lag. Abacus 2.0, where are you? I need you really badly. Unfortunately, I am in no financial situation whatsoever to be building a new computer, so. But that's okay. Now, of course, because, I'm me, I stopped this thing with the pipe facing into the potatoes, so. Yeah, probably going to take a couple of hours to do this at this rate, and then probably half an hour to go and clean it all up again afterwards, but that's fine. I just think it'll be easier in the long run to defoliate everything. So probably do that after this load. Probably get this load. This will definitely fill this tipper up. We'll bring it down and dump it in our storage. And then we'll call this an episode. In the next episode, I will have defoliated all these potatoes. And I'll probably time-lapse the rest of the harvest, I guess. One thing I do want to do, I want to take you down to dairy and show you that, though, because I'm kind of proud of it. So is that going to be close enough? Be close enough. It's another one of those pieces of equipment with a weird sort of trigger on where it wants to tip. So, that's not going to be good. That's not going to be good. Could we not crash into the very expensive case, please, with the equally as expensive class? Come on. No? How is that not over that pipe? Ugh. There are certain aspects of this game and certain mods and certain things that it's like no matter what you do, stuff just doesn't want to work. Come on. Come on. This doesn't have to be on. Does it? It's silly stuff like this that annoys me. I don't mind looking stupid by any means. That never has bothered me, not once ever. But when it's silly stuff like this that you say, okay, could you just unload? Because I couldn't be any more over this trailer. You know what I mean? I physically can't get any closer to the trailer, so what is the problem? Pipe back out again. Sometimes you gotta wake it up, maybe. Ugh. Okay, well, so there you go. I hope you guys are enjoying this super derpy episode of Farm Sim here at Old Ridge. Obviously, in real life, this wouldn't be a problem. You drive this tractor under this belt and you'd unload it. You wouldn't have all the lag and all the issues. If I sound like I'm getting a little frustrated, I got to be honest, I am. Just because it's dumb stuff like this that I just have no patience for. So I know the tipper's not full. It holds 17,000, something liters, a little over 17 tons. So it's just a damn trigger on this harvester that's being wonky. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'll back up to the thing. That's what I'll do. I can't get any closer to the thing. And why am I showing you this? Again, this is another case of, well, Jesus, BP, you could have just got all this bullshit out, right? I could have, but who wants that? This is part of the process with me. So get unloading. Okay, I think I've had enough. Oh, it's gonna be rage quit time in a minute. It's going to be rage quit, and you're going to come back, and all these potatoes are going to be harvested because I'm going to cheat in a bunch of money and get a Grimmy and do it the right way, because this thing is just annoying the crap out of me now for no apparent reason either. There's no reason why this trigger has to be like this. It should just be, get the tipper under the belt and the potatoes unload. It should just be that simple. Jesus. What a fiddly trigger, huh? Okay, well, you know what? We got it, so that's all that really matters. And if the lag would just let me move my mouse around, we could actually watch the process. Thanks for catching up. Welcome to Old Ridge Frustration Farm, everybody. It is what it is, right? Yeah, we'll go dump these over in the stores, and I'll bring it down to dairy, and I'll show you what's going on down there. And I'll show you the new fertilizer tank and the new setup, because obviously it's right near where the potatoes get dumped, so. This is about 17.5. Yeah, 17.5 tons. Not too shabby at all. Now, if the lag lets me get in the tractor, oh, the lag is horrible. It's just because of the lights, because of the moving parts, because of the fog, because of everything else. So, there we go. Thanks for catching up. And it never, it's funny. It depends on what time I'm actually running, playing Farm Sim 2. Everybody knows that, you have your computer likes to do stuff, right? It's running scans and it's running stuff, and I try to schedule all that stuff for the middle of the night. The problem is that I never remember to leave my computer running. I always like to turn it off at night. I have a pretty hard and fast rule, especially with this, because it's a laptop, because it works so hard, because I work it so hard. When I turn it off, it's off for the night. So I never remember to leave it running to let it do all its scheduled scanning and stuff. So it just does it whenever it feels like it during the day. And sometimes it never feels that it's trying to do it when I'm, trying to do something that's very, CPU or memory intensive. So that could be part of it. Okay, now I got to remember which one's the potatoes. Whoops, don't crash into the building. Which one of these is the potatoes? I don't remember. I have to go have a look. It's been a while since I've been over here. Oh, potatoes. Okay, first one is potatoes. Very good. Now, of course, I'm, sort of an idiot in putting up these buildings. And it's funny because the guy even said to me, the foreman of the job said to me, he's like, you're going to have a hell of a time getting in here, Oh, no, I'll figure it out, I said. So, luckily, these buildings are very big. These were not the buildings I originally wanted, obviously, but they gave me such a good deal on them that I just couldn't pass it up. So, the whole process of getting in here is a bit tricky, as you can imagine. It's almost easier. Well, if I come out here, see, because I have all these fences in the way too. Obviously the chicken fence and my workshop fence, and which, to be honest, could come down. I'm not really sure. I mean, obviously it was there when I bought the farm. But I don't really need it there, so can you turn a little bit more this way? Thank you. And you just get straight. So what did BP do in this episode? He backed up a lot, badly, yes. This is the backing up badly episode, apparently. 41 minutes of me fiddling around with all this stuff, and none of it really working. Now, where's the trigger? I did move the trigger, so just have to find it again now. There it is. I don't know why I'm trying so hard to get this over the pile. It makes absolutely no difference. It's going to go in that pile regardless. There we go. No, not disconnect. Did I miss the trigger again? I did. Might have to go back in and move this trigger again. There it is. Jeez. Wow. Did that have to be that hard? Not really. Oh. All right, guys, so there you go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to defoliate all those potatoes off screen. And then in the next episode, I'll time-lapse the actual harvest. I will hopefully have figured out a system of how to do it without making such a massive mess of it. And then we'll go on with some other stuff. Oh, I said I was going to take you to the dairy, right? I said I was going to take you to the dairy, so we'll just we'll park the Kloss right here because I like to leave stuff just laying around. Are the Kloss lights on? No. Okay, very good. And here we go. Here's the new dairy meadow, as you can see. Now, there's been some sort of weird paranormal activity here in Old Ridge, where trees just float in the air. That's just a mess up by me. What I did was I went into the map and I pulled all the trees out. But before I did that, I cut all the trees down because I wanted to I didn't have much to do the other day, and I said, you know what, I'm going to plow this field. So I cut the trees down to get them out of the way. Yeah. Well, when you do that, unfortunately, the map kind of says what just happened. So basically, all I have to do is load the map back up in the Giants editor, save it, and then this will all go away. So, but you can see here, it's all plowed, it's all sprayed. I have another one of these steel buildings down here. These guys love me. I spent a lot of money with them, and they give me a good deal. So, to get all my equipment inside that I wanted to get in. We got the two Milk Max machines over here. Neither one of them are full yet, so those are going to need to be filled up. But I'll get to that at some point. And then we have the two rearing sheds over here as well. I believe we have some calves. Yep, we have some calves. So be a few days before they're ready to go, but they have milk and straw and everything else. In fact, we can actually look at the if we look at the F1 menu here. So we have 2 days worth of milk, 5 days worth of straw. It's going to be about an hour before our next calf comes up, and then about a day and a half or so before they mature up and join the dairy herd. So there you go, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed that. As always, let me know what you think. I know this episode was kind of long and kind of derpy, but you know what? It was fun, except for the end with that stupid trigger. But that's okay. We will figure it out. As always, make sure you let me know what you think. If you like the video, please click the like button. It helps me and the channel out a whole bunch, as you guys know. If you saw this and you said, oh, Old Ridge Farm potato harvesting, I want to check that out, and you like the derpiness and you like what you see, please click the subscribe button. It's the best way of being notified of when I make a video, which is pretty much every day, or at the very least every 2 days. And as always, thank you for all the tips and the suggestions, the comments, all the help, all the information. You guys, some of you guys do a lot of research and a lot of work to give me information to make this, to try to run this as realistically as possible. And then I go do something like I did with the potatoes. Duh. But I really, really appreciate that. Thank you. I say this all the time. You guys are the best community on YouTube, the best community on Facebook, the best community on Twitter. You guys rock. Thank you so much. It is so heartwarming to be involved with you guys. I love it. And as always, thank you for making me a part of your YouTube day. And this is the Bipolar Prophet saying, see you later.